There were others, too.
President Biden, my opinion, very much seemed to warm up through the 90 minutes of the debate and clearly beyond.
There's a lot of ageism there. More wild speculation from a bunch of people who have probably never been in a room with Joe Biden.
Cheap fakes, videos of real events that are intentionally manipulated to fool viewers.
We're hearing about so-called cheap fakes. It's playing out on right-wing media.
Karine Jean-Pierre and others are calling these cheap fakes. But what it is truly deceitful behavior.
It's amazing. Joe Biden wasn't running circles around anyone. The talking heads were circling their wagons around him. And now these new books are designed to protect the media. Listen to this fat boy spin.
Biden can't refute the basic facts of what happened. I think it is really interesting how Tapper and Thompson are also giving an answer to all the liberals, all the Trump opponents who are saying, why are you focusing on Biden? Why are you reporting out what went wrong with Biden? Well, the answer is right here in these first excerpts that are coming out. The authors say that, quote, Democrats deceived the country about Biden's abilities. And in the words of George Clooney, that's how Trump won.
I'm starting to think obesity isn't his biggest flaw. No, that's not even how Trump won. That's how Biden was forced out. Even Stelter's analysis of the truth is a lie. I tell him to eat, but with his diet, that would be an improvement. He's trying to shift the cover-up onto the Bidens as if his stubby, fat fingers weren't all over it. Sorry, I don't blame senile people for being senile. I blame the people who let them run the country. The media is now like the guy involved in a heist who narcs on the rest of his gang, hoping for immunity from prosecution. I wonder what the author of this shocking book thinks the bottom line is.
The bottom line is the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten.
So the White House was lying to the press. Okay, case closed. Wow, you think the media would provide a little pushback against the word of the White House? I mean, they are journalists, right? If it were Trump, they would have. These so-called reporters, they're no better than Pornhub when they ask you if its users are over 18. Okay, you are? Great. Here's your kangaroo porn. The White House's press job is to make the boss look good. Have you ever heard of spin? It's lying. And you challenge it by doing your job. But instead, you gaslit us for doing your job.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
It's very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You have
to
no
watch somebody on stage
That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that the Washington Post just put out a piece examining how President Biden embraces his stutter, talking about it, while Trump mocks it, exaggerates it, belittles it. He's sharp physically. I mean, mentally. Yeah. I think the question is physically, right? He's 81. And his memory, you know, it doesn't seem great. It's not horrible.
It's funny how we never saw him stutter before. And the last time I checked, stuttering doesn't make you wander off into the rainforest. But it doesn't matter. The media is dead, and there's no going back. You could blame the Dems or Dr. Jill, but no, this was self-inflicted. And their time of death, June 27th, 2024. Cue the bagpipes.
Farewell to fake authors trying to make extra bucks. Goodbye to the losers and stupid fat. You lied about Russiagate, the lab leak, and Jussie Smollett. You lied about Covington and thought we'd forget. You gaslit us on crime with more dirty tricks, and you convinced the world Taylor Swift was more than a 6. May you rest in pain.
Let's welcome tonight's guest. He often tells jokes in exchange for fresh underwear. Founder of StudioTSC.com, Michael Loftus. He can knock you out with his wisdom and his fists. Host of the Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast on ESPN, Chael Sonnen. She's solid muscle and her vocal cords hustle. Co-host of Outnumbered, Emily Campagno. And like a tea kettle, when he whistles, old ladies come. New York Times best-selling author, comedian, former New World Champion, Tyrant. Michael, always great to see you. No matter how shabbily you dress, you still bring a smile to my face. I think the media now realizes what a huge scandal this is. It's like they realize there was a cover-up, but what they're trying to do now is distance themselves from the cover-up. That, oh my God, we didn't know, and the White House lied to us, and we bought the lie. No!
But here's what the media does. They always take it one step too far. Now they're trying to sell the idea that they were tricked. Like, just convincing us that you were tricked by Joe Biden and his staff, that's tough. But to write a book about it, to have Jake Tapper going, I was deceived. And I'm going to walk you through how they tricked me.
Yes.
It was so clever. That's like, writing a book from the perspective of the captain of the Titanic, There might be icebergs out here. I think we want to be careful around the iceberg.
Let me tell you what it was like.
Right? It was horrible.
Yes.
It was horrible.
But you know what? They attached this writer from Axios to CNN, Jake, so they could sell books. They didn't think that this would come back and blow out. Chell, you following this stuff? What do you make of this?
I read about this. A guy named Scott Ski out of Wilsonville, Oregon, wrote for the Tidings, and I read it this morning. And they may claim that John Fetterman read the exact same angle, that he can't read a teleprompter, and that he's getting confused and he doesn't know basic directions. The difference was that Biden said, I'm fine. Your eyes are lying to you, to the voter. Whereas Fetterman said, listen, I have a problem, but if you bear with me and you show me a little bit of support and you send me to the next step, I can get the help and we can all do this job together. And very much it did feel like the same gimmick.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a good point. At least Fetterman was honest, but I mean, he couldn't really hide it. Biden, they hid him.
Sure.
They hid him, but it still drives me crazy that it's the media that is now trying to play the victim. Don't they deserve punishment?
Sure, but they took reality and they pushed it into the mouth of the volcano years ago. I mean, this really was one of these amazing things where you keep showing a guy. They tried that with Kamala as well.
Yes.
Like, we wouldn't fully know what was up with Kamala because they held her back. They said, don't answer any questions, stick to this script, only work with friendlies. That was a really big turnoff, particularly in this last cycle where Trump and even Vance were willing to come out and speak to everybody.
Yes. Emily, we've talked about this a lot. Do you have any new thoughts on this? Or will you recycle old thoughts and pretend that they're new, like we often do on other shows?
Well, I had good thoughts, but now I'm second-guessing saying them. Whatever. What I was going to say, and maybe you've heard it before, but it just blows my mind the amount that they swallowed what was given them, that they recited the script given to them. Because here's the thing, when we see the contrast, remember the joke President Trump made, a joke about if he got the presidency again, the day one, I'll be a dictator.
Right.
The analysis that we got from all of those talking heads, the articles written about what he would do and what it all means, why was there not an iota of that same scrutiny when we did learn that the Parkinson's specialist visited Biden 6 times in 9 months? What about those denials? So I totally reject, obviously, the premise that they didn't have anything to do with it, but that simply they were lied to, because the whole point of the media is that they're supposed to be fact-finding. That's the investigations we're supposed to rely on. Here's who I think, however, needs to hold accountability. Who is at the top of those networks? The producers, the directors, the people truly in decision-making capacities. That talent on air, they're going to keep lying, they're going to keep spinning, they're going to keep trying to get their airtime. Everyone in those decision-making roles needs to terminate everyone, because the only accountability we're going to see is unemployment.
I think we should even go further with mass executions.
I'm down.
I'm kidding. That was a trick, Emily, to see if you'd be for it. You disgust me. Cyrus?
Yeah, I'm disgusted.
I am disgusted that you would be for mass execution.
Yes. Wow.
What can we say that we have? I feel like we were right.
We're not saying enough. We have to stop. There's no difference between everyone's talking about how horrible P. Diddy is.
Yeah.
The propaganda media is the same person.
Yes.
Biden is the victim. He's the gullible fool.
Yes.
They knew his arrogance. He refused to admit he was sick because he wanted to beat Trump.
They knew.
So they knew it.
They knew he'd be happy with the sunglasses and jacket.
He just wanted to be president.
Yes.
So, and his, was it Harold today? Talked about his 40 years of service.
Yeah.
He should have did 2.
Yeah.
Because he's worthless. But they were willing participants. They benefited from it. They profited. Lives were lost. Decisions were made. Do I need to remind everybody of Afghanistan? The president didn't make that call with a cue card.
Yeah.
The people who are doing it. So, and what do they have? They have the gift of the ignorance that is Joe Biden, who will still walk out and try to prove to everybody that he's not sick.
Yes.
So they will continue. And now they're like, oh, he tricked. No. This is what bad people do. When they have a fall guy, they put it all on the fall guy so they can continue business as usual. This, they talk about, how bad InfoWars was, that show.
Yeah.
How are they any different? And
Yes.
Tapper now, after misleading the American people, attempting to manipulate elections, knowing full well that they were lying, how is that any different than any other criminal thing? But, we're going to put it on Biden. Biden is a idiot. He refuses to admit he's sick. His family hates him so much they were fine with it. And the media and the people, the Pierres and the people in the back got to run a little progressive agenda, and everybody got to make decisions and leadership and whatever. No, this is not what we need to say. These books do is they are a blueprint for the crimes that they committed.
Yeah.
They're just telling they knew when bath time was. They knew when nap time was, and that's when they did their evil business.
All right. Up next, did Trump go to bat for Pete Rose?
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.